What's up, Tiger Gang? This is JT from the Poco Moonshine family. We're back with another episode of Chatting with Carnivores. Today we got Nicole, the former fat girl. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you? I'm excited to chat and finally meet you.
I'm doing great. I was just telling you, I was just dealing with a couple internet trolls on a short I just put out, but otherwise than that, I'm doing real good. And I love your channel name. I love how you're embracing the old you, but you're also celebrating the new you at the same time with that name.
Yeah. Yeah,
Because some people would be like, well, that's offensive. Well, not if she's, you know, embracing it herself. It's probably empowering then, right?
some people did get offended actually because I rebranded my actual newsletter, Nutrition Talk from a Former Fat Girl, and yeah, someone's actually a couple people said they were offended. Like
It's
it was like
you. You're
I was
talking about
calling them
yourself.
fat, and I was like, no, I'm calling myself fat.
Yeah, no, I tell you, I was just telling Nicole, like people look for anything to get so upset about, but you guys we want to dive deep and find out who this former fat girl really is. Where are you from and where are you at, Nicole?
I'm originally from New Jersey, so I am a Jersey girl, right outside of
Jersey.
Philadelphia. So my Eagles won yesterday.
Have you ever seen Snooki in Jersey?
Oh, that's Jersey Shore. They're not even from Jersey. They're from where are they? New York.
You're kidding
Uh,
me. You just broke my heart that they're not real Jerseyans.
they can't represent Jersey. They're crazy.
Oh
I'm
man,
crazy,
see
but I'm
that's
not
news
that
to me. That's funny. It's
I'm
funny, cause Snooki, she liked the one guy on there, and it's funny. Like, I nickname my wife once in a while to get on her nerve. I'll call her Snooki.
that's funny. Yeah, I'm
It's
crazy. I'm not that crazy though. But yeah, we live in Northern Virginia now, about 20 miles outside of DC. My husband's a Patriots fan, so the Eagles played the Patriots yesterday
oh
and
man,
we won. It was quiet in our house, but we won.
wow. You had a lot of years though of letting him sit at the top.
That's a. We're not going. We beat them in the last Super Bowl though, so I'll
Yep.
take it. I'll take
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. No. Yeah. They did kind of fall down quick once Brady left. So
That's
it
what
is
I'm
what it is.
saying. Yeah.
What's your favorite part about Virginia?
What's the favorite part?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot to do, a lot of history. Um, I like our area. We live in a town center, so we can walk everywhere. There's biking trails everywhere. It's very conducive for outdoor activities, mountain biking, road biking. Um, but that kind of gets overshadowed by the traffic and the cost of living. It's really really expensive, and more people and big businesses are moving in our area.
Hmm.
So it's just getting more congested and more expensive. And yeah, so I'm ready to make my escape whenever his company lets us leave. I'm ready to move onward and upward.
That's awesome. So you
Yeah.
got plans, you know where you're going, and it's
You
that's
might
half the
be
battle.
Yeah, it might be Omaha. That's where his company's headquartered, so that might be our only option if we're allowed to move. But yeah, right now he has to be based in this area in DC,
Mm.
so we're stuck. But yeah, it's outside of the traffic and the cost of living. It kind of like all the good kind of gets overshadowed by the
Cost of
sheer
living and
cost of living and the expense. And I mean, I have a car tax. We have to pay car tax, and like every year. And yeah, my bill is like 500-600 bucks just to drive my car on the road.
wow, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So take us back. How did you grow up, Nicole?
How did I grow up?
Yeah.
I mean,
Any food related issues growing up?
my backstory.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, before I get into that, I do want to say, Carrie's in the chat. Congratulations, my metamorphosis. I made you a moderator on my channel. You're welcome, and thanks so much. So, um, yeah, so I don't I don't even know where to begin. It's kind of a convoluted story. So I was always an athlete growing up. I guess a tomboy, if that's still a word nowadays. But I was a tomboy. I played all the sports: basketball, ran track, softball. I played football with the guys. I was climbing trees. I was all over the place because back in the 80s, we didn't have internet. We didn't have cell phones. We were outside until it got dark and our parents called us out to eat. I mean, there was even a commercial that said, it's 11 o'clock. Do you know where your kids are?
I
So,
remember
I
that.
mean, yeah. So, I mean, it was just a different time. But then when I was 11, my brother passed away.
Mm.
And I've always had a sweet tooth. I always loved sweet candy. anything sweet, any candy, I'd eat it. But I was able to outwork that bad diet. But when my brother passed away, I didn't know how to grieve. I was 11. My parents just lost a child, so they were grieving and going through their own stuff. So I kind of just turned to food. Um, and that's just what I use for comfort. I never grieved. I never hit it head on. I just ate my feelings, I guess, if you will.
Mhm.
And then fast forward, I joined the military. Actually, today's September 11th, right? So I was supposed to go to basic training in the Air Force September 11th, 2001.
Mm.
So things happened. I got delayed, so I ended up going September 14th. But yeah, I spent 14 years in the Air Force. My last year, I think it was, I got out in 2016. So about 2015, I took
Really?
my final PT test, which is a mile and a half run, push ups, sit ups, and then they tape your waist. And if you bust tape, you step on the scale. And if you bust the scale, then you fail. I passed everything, but I busted tape. For women, it was 35 inches was the max waist. I think I was at about 38. And then the scale, I was almost at 180, and I'm 5 feet short. So I was pushing 200 pounds even back then. So when I got out, it just got worse because I didn't have people telling me to work out. I didn't have people telling me to run because I was a cop. So I was very active.
Mm.
So I kind of just got lazy. My bad habits caught up to me, and I continued to gain weight. I even went vegan for 4 years to try to drop the weight because I thought that was healthy. Um, the documentary What the Health actually made me go vegan. And then 2020 happened. I was still vegan at this time, and I was furloughed from my federal government job here in Northern Virginia. And while everyone else was gaining weight, that's when I started to drop the weight. So I got certified in nutrition to help me continue to drop the weight. Um, I think I was about 200 pounds at this time. So before I switched to low carb, the beginning of this year, I had already dropped about 50 pounds. Um, and then when I switched to low carb the end of this year or the beginning of this year, I have dropped about 20 since. So I'm down 70 total. I have maybe about 15 more to go. But yeah, I apologize to all of my clients. I now promote low carb to my clients. We're reversing diabetes, all these things that I set out to do originally, but now we're doing it the right way because I was still promoting the lean and green and all things in moderation because that's what we're taught. So I literally apologize to every single one of my clients because I did them wrong. I did me wrong, knowing what I know now. But yeah, I went down a rabbit hole on my nutrition education, the guidelines. I binge watched Bart K's entire channel. I stumbled across Nutrition with Judy, so we're in the same industry, so they resonated more with me rather than Sean Baker and Ken Berry. People in the nutrition space resonate with me. I resonate with them more. But I did stumble across Ken Berry and all them. But yeah, it's ever since switching to low carb and seeing the results, no longer being obese, no longer having mental health issues, anxiety, depression, having more confidence, no longer have digestive issues. I no longer have sleep apnea because I'm not obese anymore. I no
Yay.
longer have, I had arthritis, bursitis, and tendonitis in my one knee because I've had multiple knee surgeries. I don't know if that stuff's still there, but I will say I'm not in pain anymore. I can sit and stand without being stiff. I can go up and down stairs. I'm more mobile. I'm not in pain. So yeah, it's just night and day difference between my own personal journey and now my client's journey. So I definitely feel better in my 40s than I ever did in my 20s and 30s.
That's amazing. And you said you were a cop?
Yeah.
What was your most exciting story that you could tell us?
Oh dear Lord. Funny? Okay, I'll give you a funny one and then I'll give you a real world one. So
Yeah, give us a story. I want to hear a cop
all
story.
right. So, well, there's a couple. So I didn't get along with my supervisor and my first base. I was stationed in Minot, North Dakota,
Mhm.
and she was just a bee. She just like she was cocky and treated everyone beneath her just like crap. So my last duty day out in the field, again, Minot, North Dakota. It was winter. It gets cold. I took her shampoo and soap because I was on night shift, and I put it outside overnight. And before I went to bed, I put it back in front of her door. So when she went to get up in the morning to shower, I heard her screaming bloody murder because all of her stuff was frozen. and then, and then the last, and then one of the other funny stories in Minot is we have this pole out in the facility where we were based out of, and it's metal. And there's a transfrisker, which is a metal detector. It's the wand. It's called a transfrisker. Well, I was a leader. So I had a new member I was in charge of, I was training. And I told him that once a shift, we have to go out to that pole out there and we have to taste it for radiation.
Oh,
If this wand goes off, you have to drop to a knee, don your gas mask, and low crawl back to the building. So I'm standing there with my partner just staring out the window. And sure enough, this metal detector, he's wanding, a metal pole goes off. So he drops to a knee, dons his gas mask, and he's like, no kidding, low crawling back to the it was so
oh no.
actually modeled that this is a metal detector, but yeah, that was funny. And then a real world serious one is there was a lot of domestics in the military, a lot of underage drinking. So when I was in Osan, Korea, I was on patrol and me and my partner were chasing after this dude on base, literally foot pursuit. I forget what the heck he did, but we were just called on our radio that we had to this guy, whatever, they were looking for him. So we were all out foot pursuit. I actually gave my partner my weapon because I was so mad when I caught up to him. I literally just tackled him like football style, like just tackled
Adam Sandler.
But yeah, we actually apprehended him and brought him in. But yeah, that was actually real world. There are a lot of domestics and underage drinking and all those things on military bases. So there was a bunch of real world stuff. But as far as we call it jeeping, like joking around, yeah, there was a lot of that going on. Like we had berets.
Mm-hmm.
So we would take a chalk pen, a black one, and outline the beret. So when they took it off, they'd have the black outline on their forehead.
I gotta watch out for you. You're a prankster.
Pretty much.
But thank you for serving, though. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you.
People like you make sure that the rest of us can, live free. So that's people they should be thanking everybody for serving, everybody who has, right?
Absolutely. I appreciate it, especially on, a day like today.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Very important today. I never forgot 9/11. I was in the 6th grade, I think, when that happened.
Oh, wow. You're a youngster.
Huh?
You're a youngster.
Yeah, I'm 33.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, and it was on the TV, and we just kept seeing plane after plane, and eventually my teacher was like, okay, that's enough, and turned it off. So I remember that. Yeah, it's a wild day. Let's do a couple comments quick. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Hello, Michael.
Hello.
Hello. Hello. Is that like British? Hello.
Hello.
I like that. Uncle Big Guy. Howdy, y'all. How you doing? Hi, and happy Monday, Susie. Let me know in the comments, does me talking about eggs upset you guys? I gotta know, because if it does, I'm gonna keep doing it. The Carnivore Trucker, hey y'all. Robin, hey, how you doing, girl? Just had her on.
Oh, I think I saw that. Yeah.
Yep. Hey Nicole, hey Tribe, my metamorphosis. Carrie, how you doing? John, what up, y'all?
What up, John?
John's my one of my moderators now, due to these hate raids.
Hey, Michelle.
Waves I didn't miss this time. Michelle, good. Don't miss it. Hi, Nicole and JT. Hello, B Meets.
Hey, Brooke.
Karen. Hi, JT and former fat girl Nicole. Sorry about that. How you doing, Karen?
What's up, Karen?
Primal Mike, what's up?
Mike.
Wow, everybody's up in here today. Eric Carnivore, and hello. I feel it's important to say hi to everybody. We don't we wouldn't have a message to share if there was no audience, right?
Oh, no, I'm down. Yeah.
Midlife Carnivore, go Pats. Oh man, here we go.
Man.
This is how it all starts, man. Eggs and Patriots, man. Everybody's getting pissed off today.
They didn't say cowgirl, so I'll let that slide.
Is it a full moon today? Why is everybody so riled up?
Oh, my daughter lives in Hoboken. What's up, Becky? Yeah, that's up north. We're outside of Philly, so we're on the south side.
South side?
South Side.
Keto Vorgonian. I like that name though. I always like reading that name. Certain names I like reading more than
Yeah.
others. There's not
Not
much to
much.
do in VA. LOL.
Yeah,
Is that
come on.
true?
No, there is. I mean, you have to be outdoorsy though. I mean, there's always people out running, walking, hiking. There's a bunch of hiking trails, mountain biking, road biking. There's tons of museums. There's a ton of stuff here. All the history. There's a ton of history here.
Come on, Carnivore
Yeah,
Trucker.
he's crazy. Come on,
Yeah,
Sean.
that's a wild comment, my
You're
guy.
fired, Sean.
Hey Mike and JP, hey Truck. Okay, let's see. If you guys got a question for Nicole, put a Q in front of it. It's a little easier for me to read. $30 car registration in Tennessee. Man, I'm telling you.
Oh, I'm not talking registration. I'm talking we have to pay a car tax every single year to drive our car on the road.
That must be
Yeah.
a thing in your state.
Oh, I'm telling you.
Yikes, that's expensive. How much was it again?
Last year it was 700 and something. This year I think it's 500 and something.
That's
Yeah.
cutting into our carnivore eats.
I have a Jeep though. They hold their value. It's like 20% of your value or whatever it is, whatever your vehicle's worth. But yeah, Jeeps, unfortunately, it's super fun to drive, but yeah, they hold their value. So
Food for thought. Anthony, thank you. What's up, man? He's big into nutrition too.
oh, nice.
Wick goes carnivore. Hello, how you
Brian?
doing, buddy? I'm talking to Brian in the thing. Oh, did you get my message to you for John?
Yeah, I'm gonna respond tomorrow. I haven't had a chance to do any YouTube stuff today, so yeah.
Yeah, no, you're all good. I just wanted to make sure
Yeah.
I did my part.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yep. You guys got a question for Nicole? Put a Q in front of it. I'm gonna start looking for some Qs now. We pretty much said hi to everybody. T-bones again. Yeah. What's your favorite cut of beef while we're talking about T-bones?
Me? I'm super simple, man. I can eat beef burger patties every day, all day. I'm simple. Yeah.
Do you put butter with your burger patties?
I bake them in the oven, and I put butter on each patty, and I bake it in the butter juices.
I
Yeah.
love butter burgers.
Yeah.
I love them. And
Yeah.
then especially with a little bit of the Redmond salt on there.
Yeah, see,
Ugh.
I'm simple. Everyone goes with the fancy cut of steaks. I'm like, just give me a burger patty. That's all I need. I can eat that every day.
Hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I had 4 today. I'm OMAD, so that's
Hey,
my meal.
keto Cheeto. I want to see a truck cooking video. Yeah, carnivore trucker. Do like Rick does. Wrap that steak in a tinfoil and throw it right on the engine, and you'll be able to smell when it's done on your way to work.
I'm telling you.
Okay, here's a cue. How did Nicole become a nutritionist? What was her path? Could you answer that?
Yeah, so I've always been interested in health and wellness. I actually originally wanted to become a personal trainer because I love picking things up, putting it down. I love working out, weightlifting. But yeah, and I've taken nutrition, exercise science classes in high school and college. But yeah, it wasn't until I was on my own journey to weight loss and health that I decided to just get my nutrition education just to help me. I never intended to start a business, work with clients. Like this was never the thought. But as I was dropping weight, I realized that there's very few people working with weight loss in the nutrition space or even personal training who have been obese themselves. So I'm of the belief if you've never walked in someone's shoes, you truly don't. You may think you have empathy and you may think you understand, but you really, really don't. And it brings a new layer to working with because there's an extra layer of emotion if you're obese or extremely overweight. Most of my clients are 65 to 100 plus pounds overweight. And that's pretty much where I was. But that's pretty much how I landed here. I never intended for any of this to happen, but I knew through my journey that, you know, I wish I knew then what I knew now. And I wish there were more people who were where their clients have been if you're working with obesity. And I figured I'm in the position to where I can make more of an impact with people who really, really need to completely change their lives. And by that, I mean lose a lot of weight, take care of their emotional eating, their emotional health, reverse diabetes. So that's ultimately why I started my business, was because I'm in the best position, I believe, to help people who were where I was.
Absolutely. I love that. And I agree that it probably is going to help you help someone a lot better if you've actually been through that situation. Because it's one thing to read something out of a book,
Right.
but then I feel like people who almost even don't even read the educational books, they just jump right in whatever they want to study, read a book on, and they just jump right into it. I feel like the experience actually gives them more knowledge than the book ever could.
Yep. I didn't even promote low carb with my clients until I did it myself. I was going to be my own anecdotal evidence. So before
Yep.
I promoted this to my clients, 'cause I had every intention to, I'm
That's
like, no,
diligent.
I
That's
need to do it
diligence.
myself. So I did it for about 30, 60 days before I started working with my clients on low carbs. I wanted to see how it affected me so I can speak to it. But yeah, I'm all about testing things out on yourself before you do things with your clients, because you can do harm to people's health if you guide them down the wrong road.
Yeah, exactly. That's why it's just so important to share people's stories, and people are truthful and honest about their stories, because people are listening, and we don't want to steer nobody down a right path. And I feel like this is great. Like Carnivore, it's like it's really hard for me to steer someone down the wrong path. Like this is a great, I wouldn't even call it a diet anymore. It's a great lifestyle, man. Like I'm feeling better than I ever have. So is Nicole.
Yep,
A lot of other people.
absolutely.
Guns out. You want to get the guns out?
Oh man, I have a long sleeve.
Hey, I still see it poking
I,
through.
I
That's
feel like I
nice.
feel like he's taken over for Jonathan. Illustrate guns.
The guns. My metamorphosis. My son flew to Boston for work today. I admit it gave me the heebie-jeebies.
Oh yeah, yeah. I can say that.
I get the heebie-jeebies from fizzy water.
Hmm?
Like sparkling water, like water with the carbonation in it.
Yeah.
It makes my skin crawl. Like I just
Oh really?
cannot drink it. But like soda is fine. That syrup, the extra syrup in there when I used to drink that was. But then my wife tried to get me to drink this fizzy water, and I'm like, this just makes my bones crawl. I can't do it. Water should be water.
Yeah.
Robin, hey, how you doing? LOL, didn't mean to troll you. Oh, you're all good, John. You're all good.
He
Everybody's
told
getting
you.
upset about eggs today. That's all right. I'm gonna do another short on eggs tomorrow since so
What's up,
many people
Pam?
got
What's up,
riled up.
Peachy?
Hey, Peachy. Peachy. It's a peachy what is it? Peachy what?
Peachy Pam and my MD.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I
I,
think
I was
my
like,
name's Pam. Yeah.
I don't know if I ever seen that word. Oh, Eagles pulled one out yesterday. Yeah, you're gonna see now. You're just sucking up to
Man,
Nicole
I
here.
had
You
to
just
stop. I had to stop watching. They were stressing me out, man. My blood pressure was through the roof yesterday. That was oh man, they played like garbage. Their O line couldn't hold anything. I was like, what's happening? Oh,
yeah,
so
you guys. We talk football sometimes on chatting with carnivores. As I said, we're going to talk about carnivore and life. I literally put that on my calendar booker. Like we're going to talk about life and carnivore, because I feel like everybody else just like meat, 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 meat. And we'll
yeah.
try to talk about carnivore still, but it's nice to throw a couple other things in there.
I'll talk about anything. Like if you follow my
I'm going
channel,
to have you on again.
if you follow my channel for any amount of time, you know my chats can kind of go off the rails fast.
So besides, you said you liked a lot of ground beef. What
Oh,
else do you eat in a week besides ground beef? What does a week
I'm
of
pretty
eating look like
much
for a
yeah.
former fat girl?
Yeah, I'm pretty much triple B and E. I'll pretty much eat beef, butter, bacon, and eggs. Pretty much as primarily what I stick to. The carbs I do eat, I'm not zero carbs. I do eat berries, mostly strawberries and blueberries. Every once in a while, raspberries, but mostly blueberries, strawberries, avocado. I just introduced cashews within the
Those
last month.
avocados and cashews, girl.
Found you. Apparently, they offend people, man. And then,
Uh,
yeah, and
we
every
should cut a video together. I'll hold my egg, you hold your avocados and cashews, and we're just gonna piss the world off so hard.
I tell you.
If that doesn't do 4 million views, I don't know what does.
That stuff doesn't offend me. I'm just like, this works for me. And like I said, I've never claimed to be zero. I've been 100% transparent on every single video on what I eat. But yeah, that's primarily my carb sources for the most part. Every once in a while, like I'm Italian, I'm mostly Italian. So like on Christmas Eve, you better believe I'm gonna have the traditional pasta and the fish dinner because that's what we do. I'm gonna feel like absolute garbage after that. But you gotta plan for these things. But I just live my life and this is just what works for me and I feel amazing. So I'm not sure if I'm going to introduce more carbs. Probably not. I'm pretty good with what I have. So I think I'm going to stick with this for a while and and see if I decide to change my mind. But right now, it's pretty much what I stick to.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys, there's nothing wrong with being low carb or zero carb.
Yeah.
Just do what works for you, and it's about feeling good, you know. And I know everybody's obsessed with losing the weight, but
Yeah.
you know, like as long as we start to like reverse health issues we've had and feel better, like that's the ultimate blessing. And your body, it is a beautiful machine. It's going to
Yeah.
do what it needs to do to optimize and get to whatever weight it thinks it should be. So you
Absolutely.
just do what's good for you.
Yeah.
Here's a question. You want to read this one, Nicole?
Do you have clients who are resistant to trying carnivore? If so, how do you handle that? I'm very transparent on my website, and when I have my discovery call, part of that discovery call is discovering if we're a good fit with one another. I have had plant-based dieters try to work with me, and I always ask if they're willing to. And I never try to get my clients to go zero carb or even as low as me. I just try to get them as low as they can go to reverse whatever issue they have. So, for instance, I will have my clients eat half the bun instead of the whole bun, and they're still reversing diabetes. So, my goal is never to get them zero, it's to get them as close to zero as they are comfortable with and they can sustain just by making small cuts like that. But I have had plant based dieters come to me and they have introduced animal foods back in their diet, but I have also had to turn people away because they weren't willing to eat animal foods, and I can't ethically, like my own ethics and my what do you call my what my business is known for,
Your
I
reputation.
that's it, reputation. I don't want to put any of that at risk by taking people I don't believe in. I don't want to knowingly malnourish someone through my coaching. The old me, yeah, I would have taken plant-based because I was plant-based, but now knowing what I know now, I can't ethically put my ethics and my business reputation on the line by knowingly promoting a malnourishing diet. So yeah, I don't try to get them carnivore per se. I do promote low carb. So as long as they're 100 or less, I'm fine with that. As long as they're losing weight, it's sustainable, and they're fasting blood glucose is in control. They're reversing diabetes. That's truly all that matters. So I never try to get my clients to go zero or even as low as me. I just try to get what's manageable to them. And
Mhm.
thankfully, they continue to decrease their carbs naturally. But I never push that though, because it has to work for them. It has to be sustainable, just like it has to be sustainable for everyone here who's on their own journey.
Yeah, yeah. Don't push anybody. You know, just lead by example, and we push anybody, even people in our family. It's just gonna, you know, when you chase somebody, the first reaction they got is to run. You know, when you're being anybody being chased, your first action is to run.
Yeah.
So it's best to not chase
And then if
people.
Nicole's chasing after you, Nicole will tackle you if you run.
Yes, yes. Adam, she is like she'll go Adam Sandler style, like your water boy.
So like, bro.
That's so funny. Here's another one. You want to take this one, Nicole?
Uh, Becky, what's up? I know you work with the elder population. I do. What is the biggest challenge they face nutritionally? Oh man, I can be here an hour talking about this. Um, oh gosh. Besides, I would say, okay, the one of the most common, I would say, cause of death for seniors outside of cardiovascular and all that stuff is falls. That is huge. Our senior population are aging weak and frail. Um, and then you have malnutrition and dehydration. So the being weak and frail is a different issue than malnutrition. They could be one and the same. So like as you age, most people have heard of sarcopenia. I'm in my 40s, so I'm already starting to lose lean muscle mass and tissue, but that really accelerates when you reach 65 and above. And while you can't necessarily stop it from happening or reverse it, you can slow the progression. And the problem is a lot of these nursing homes, like my grandmother died in a nursing home at 72 with diabetes, and she was fed the standard high carb, low animal food diet. And that's what our seniors are being fed. Mashed potatoes, baked beans, sandwiches, potato chips, sodas, juices, desserts, fruit, but not just fruit, the fruit in the syrup, like all this sugar and very, very, very little meat, very little protein. So that's largely the problem with falls and sarcopenia. but then you have their, their decreased ability to absorb certain vitamins and minerals. You have the decreased sense of smell, taste. You have dental, oral health issues. So like, there's a lot going on. But a lot of it is because they're deficient. They're fed a high carb diet because that's what they've eaten most of their lives. And these facilities and communities think that, and hospitals think that these are the types of foods they need to feed them just to get them to eat. They just want them to eat something. And this is what they have to give them to get them to eat. And that's just a bad message to send, because you can make good food taste good. You can pack it with flavor. You can give them juice, but dilute it with water to decrease the sugar content. Like, there are things you can do. It's just a problem is these things aren't being done. And the larger problem is they have registered dietitians by law that they have to have in hospitals and clinical settings, in senior communities and nursing homes, that are coming up with their menus. And when I look at the menus, it's all plant-based, high-carb menus. There's only one meal that maybe have a piece of meat. Everything else is plant-based. And that's part of the problem too, is that by law, they have to have registered dietitians coming up with the menu. And these are the foods that these RDs are coming up with that are leading to the decline in our senior population. It is declining, and it's terrible. And I'm trying to bridge that gap. But it's an uphill battle, I'm finding. But I am contracted with one community in home care and in talks with others, so I am making progress. But it's harder than I thought it was going to be to push nutrition. It's tough. It's a tough world out there. I know that was a long-winded story, but this is definitely a passion area of mine, and it's definitely needed. And it's terrible how our aging population is being treated. Honestly, they're being treated worse than the younger people as far as food and even Medicare and healthcare. It's terrible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you guys, they were here before us. Like, they kept this all running, so we need to treat our elders with utmost respect, and we need to
Yeah.
stick up for them and fight for them, because like it or not, one day we'll be the elders, and we'll
Yep.
be in a position where we're not maybe as able-bodied as we are now, and we'll be looking at the youngsters to stick up for us and stand up for us and help us
Yep.
fight. So
And then
just,
you can go to the nursing home and say, "Get those mashed potatoes out of here."
yeah, and then you go Adam Sandler and say, if you bring this mashed potatoes in here one more time, I will spear you and I will break. That's how I will go out. Believe me. I got a question though. What was your former fat girl's mindset versus your new mindset? Can you
Oh.
explain?
Oh, dude. So one of my specialties, one of my huge programs is emotional eating. Like I said, that's how I handled my the loss of my brother. My trauma was emotional eating. So yeah, I went to therapy, and I'm a firm believer in therapy, and everyone can benefit from therapy. But I was in a terrible headspace. Like, I am a funny bastard in real life. Like, I am goofy and wacky. Like, what you see is what you get. But the problem with that is I was using it as a defense too. Like, I was afraid of close relationships. I was pushing people away, and I used my humor to keep people at bay because I was afraid of getting hurt, because I lost my brother at such a young age that I thought everyone was going to leave, type thing. I was in a bad headspace. I had anxiety that would oftentimes lead to depression. I never thought I was good enough. I had such a negative outlook on life. I had no self-confidence at all. But yeah, therapy really helped with that. I went through cognitive behavioral therapy, and that's where I learned that I use my humor as a defense. Although I am funny in real life, it's not a defense. It's not all defensive, but yeah.
In your
So and
defense, you are funny.
thank you, thank you. But yeah, it's and I saw the world around me in a negative light. Like, honestly, it was my mental health was worse than I thought as I got older. But yeah, since therapy, that helped a lot. And then obviously going low carb, I've never experienced, because I do a lot of public speaking for my business, a lot of workshops, a lot of education, a lot of talking to businesses like in a public forum. I would get the sweats. I would just try not to pass out. My heart would be racing. It would just be terrible. I was just trying to end the workshop standing. But about 45, 60 days into low carb, I gave an in-person talk to 50, 60 business owners. I had zero reaction. I had confidence. I was cool, calm, collected. My heart wasn't racing. I didn't even have a bead of sweat. I've never experienced that level of confidence before. So yeah, it's the way I am now. I've never experienced the level of self confidence I have now. And my level of self confidence now allows me to be a better business owner, be better for my clients. The old me, yeah, I was in a tough headspace. I guess I faked it until I made it, right? I was faking my way through things. I was faking happy. I was faking all of it. But now it's like I don't have to fake anymore. It just is. So yeah, that's a long-winded way of me saying the difference between then and now.
No, that's a great answer, and it's I bring it up because there's some people probably that see that former fat girl name and they get all offended by it, and they don't realize that that's just a line of connection. Like, you're connecting and relating to people, and that should be empowering to know that you weren't once in that same position, but now you're not. So like, you can be a leader for them. So if you guys are wondering, like, her name is, I love the name, so it's nothing to get offended by. It's awesome. It's liberating. It's
Yeah,
powerful. And I think more people should embrace who they were and celebrate who they are now, because that's the best way to be grateful now, is to remember who you used to be, and then where you're at now, and it just feels so much better.
that's poetic, man.
Thanks. Keto Cheeto, ribeye and brisket and flank steak for fajitas. I can't have fajitas. What are you trying to do to me? Even the
I
lady at the thing, she's like, "Oh, this is good steak or meat for," I forgot what it was called, but she says they use this for iron steak or something. I think she said for fajitas. I was like, I can't have fajitas.
Dude, brisket. I had brisket for the first time at KetoCon in April in Austin. That was my first time ever having brisket because Jersey girl, we're not known for meat, right? We're known for diners. Just saying. But yeah, brisket is so good. So now I think, going back to your question about steak, if yeah, I like chuck steak and I like brisket. So like at our local grocery store, they have premium blends, which
Mm-hmm.
I show in my grocery haul too. But they have premium blends of meat, and one of my favorite is a mixture of chuck and brisket. It is
Mm.
so good, just the different blends of meat blended together. It's so
Yeah, I would
good.
have to try that. That sounds really good.
Yeah, it's so
You
good.
ever try chuck eye steak?
No, what's that?
Um, the lady at the farm, she was like, she asked me, I was like, no. She says it's similar to ribeye, but she thinks or for her, it's personally a little bit better. So I said, "Ooh, I'll try
Oh,
chuck eye."
yeah, that's
Yeah, I'd
fancy.
never even heard of it. She tried to get me to buy some cow tongue too. I was like, I am so
Oh,
good on that. Like, I am just not that carnivore courageous yet. I'm getting there, but I'm just not that. I ain't there yet though. Janine, hi JT, and hi
what's
Nicole.
up?
Hey, how you doing, Janine? Okay, here's a question. You want to take this one?
That's your bucket hat. That's your that's your question. That's your bucket hat.
Oh, okay. Former question: how much did that bucket hat cost? Yeah, that's my bucket hat. Yeah, and the bucket hats, I think they're $20 on my eBay if you want one just like this with the cow print and the patch. And this
Are
patch actually glows in the dark. So,
you sell it on eBay?
yep,
Oh, cool.
yeah, because this, my wife actually sewed on. Like this chatting with carnivores, that's on my spread shop. That's easy. Like, someone else makes that, but this we
Okay.
actually, like, if you want merch that we actually hand stitched and worked on, then you go to my eBay.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, you can take the merch to the next level. You know what I'm saying? Robin, I'm really, really considering getting certified in nutrition.
Oh,
Yeah, I think
girl.
I think the more people with actual good knowledge, and they're not pushing all this, they're not what do you call them?
Pushing the agenda.
Yeah, like agenda pimps. You know what I'm saying? They're just,
Yeah.
yeah, just as
Girl,
long.
I will say, just know it's going to be lean and green. They're going to educate you on the importance of saturated fat, but then they're going to tell you to limit it. They're going to tell you we can't absorb or digest fiber and all these other things that happen with fiber, but then they're going to tell you to eat more of it. So just put your head down. Just know, like, you can do whatever the heck you want. You can promote low carb once you get through your training, but you're going to want to beat your head against the wall if you get it. I'm not steering you away from it, but just know it's going to go against what you want to promote. So just as long as you realize that going in, it should suck less, but just know that it is going to go against what you are currently doing and what you want to promote. But just put your head down, just get through it. And then once you get through it and you have your credentials, then you can promote low carb and work with low carb clients. But yeah, just know that you're going to want to beat your head against the wall. So just put your head down, grin and bear it, get through it. And then once you get out of it, then you can do whatever you want with it.
I really hope that part of our culture changes. I've been hearing that so much, man. You got to play the game to get
Yeah,
certified, and to
it's
to
terrible.
actually legit help people. You got to like
Yeah.
learn all this nonsense. It's ridiculous. What about this one? Do you want me to take this one, or do you want this one, Nicole?
Oh, go for it.
What role has faith had in your journey, and what are your thoughts on the metaphysics of the relationship of life, health, and eating?
I'm not religious. So honestly, for me, I mean, I'm obviously, if it's your choice if you want to be religious. It's just I'm just not, and so it really didn't play that much of a role for me personally. Um, but metaphysics of the relationship of life, health, and eating. I mean, it's all cyclical, right? So like, I believe how you feel is how you eat, and how you eat is how you feel.
It makes a good
So
life then if you feel good and eat good.
right. So like if you're in a terrible spot, like say for instance, my trauma, my childhood trauma is a prime example, and that led me down a dark path that I had no idea it was going to lead me down in my older years, to where I had a bad, a negative relationship with food. And that affected my health to where I was obese. I had sleep apnea, I had high blood pressure, like all of these things. So yeah, I think it all plays a role. And yeah, I think there is, mental, emotional, your religious health, your all that plays a role. It just might look different in different people, but I think it's all cyclical, and it all works in synergy and harmony. Absolutely. Religious health, your faith, your emotional health, your physical health, like all that works in your mental health. Yeah, it all works in harmony. That harmony just looks different in different people. That's all.
Absolutely.
What about you, JT?
Yeah, my faith helped me. I I just had to remember that I was causing a lot of my own problems. Like it wasn't God punishing me. You know what I'm saying? The Lord had blessed me with meat my entire life. I just chose to eat junk, and I
Yeah,
chose to drink. I chose to smoke. So yeah, it helped me realize how much the Lord does love me, because He put all these beautiful blessings in my life, but I was choosing to ignore them. Like I couldn't see what was right in front of me. That so once I started to go inside myself and ask the Lord for guidance, I
yeah,
found the guidance. I was led to my coach Bob, and then I was led to Carrie's channel where he was sharing his story about the carnivore diet, because maybe I'm a unicorn, man. I never heard of Dr. Berry. I never heard of Chafee. I never heard of any of them. First time I heard about carnivore diet was through Carrie when he was starting to post his videos, and I watched him for a while. And he did keto too. I saw him get way more wild results with carnivore, like
yeah.
faster. So I was like, you know what, carnivore really intrigued me. So yeah, both, my faith, and then also you also have to, you can't just smell the roses and pray. Like when the Lord healed the 10 lepers, He told them to get up. He didn't just say keep sitting there. Like you had to have some action too. You can't just smell the roses. He said get up. And he
Yeah.
meant by that, like, you're healed now, get up and go, live a new way. You know what I'm saying? So I prayed about it, and then I found a new way to live, and I got up and I started living a new way. So it definitely helped me, I would say.
I kind of chuckled when he said unicorn, because I always joked when I was on Barkay's channel. He asked me what I identify as. I said, my spirit animal is a unicorn. I identify as a unicorn. So all my channel members, their icon is now a unicorn.
That's awesome.
That's why I chuckled when he said unicorn.
Yeah, yeah, that's the universe speaking. It's vibrations. You can pick up on thoughts that people aren't even speaking with their mouth, because thoughts are everywhere at all times. So
Yeah,
if you
100%.
you can pick up on those vibrations. People call it coincidence. It's not. It's all frequencies and vibrations. That way, you ever try to think about someone, and all of a sudden they start calling your phone?
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
That's not coincidence. That's
Yeah.
vibrations, and it might have worked the same way. You think about them, and then they're thinking about you, and then you call them. It's just
Yeah.
the way. It's beautiful. Here's a question. You want to take this one?
Peachy, can you speak on getting off the sugar? I'm struggling with that. Hey, did you check out that emotional eating video yet? Because I think you said you were gonna watch it, but yeah, it's just being comfortable being uncomfortable. It's gonna suck. Because the first step to getting over the sugar outside of abstaining, getting it out of your house, and all that is to just stop when you have the cravings and you get the urges to go to the pantry or to the refrigerator to get something to eat. And it's gonna suck to be uncomfortable. Hey JT, you're not subbed. What the hell, man?
I'm not logged in. I
um,
tell that to everybody. I am subbed. I'm just not
that's
signed
just
in.
funny.
So
I'm just giving you crap.
I love you. Trust me. I'm
But
signed.
yeah, so
I'm
it's
subbed.
it's just giving your brain time because when you have a craving, when you have an urge, it's you're kicked into the illogical, irrational thinking. So
Hmm.
just by giving yourself those couple seconds to stop, you allow your brain to go back to logical thinking, rational thought. And that's what you need to do because then you can assess, are you truly hungry? Are you physically hungry? Are you emotionally hungry? Did your cravings come about suddenly, abruptly? Are you craving sugary, salty foods? Do you feel guilt or shame after eating? If you answered yes to all those questions, then it's emotional hunger. Do you find that you eat and you don't have an off switch? You eat when you're not hungry. That's signs of emotional eating. So just assess your hunger and do something that doesn't involve food. So like for me, it's going out for a walk, going to the gym. Sometimes I'll free write. I'll read. But yeah, those are just some of the things just outside of abstaining. But I think you said you were a couple months into your carnivore journey, and you're largely triple B&E. So I just say stick with that for at least 4 to 6 months to really be fat adapted, to really regulate your hormones, and to get things back on track before even thinking about having a cheat or reintroducing any carbs or anything back in. If I remember correctly, I don't think you've been doing it long enough. So I would say just give it time, and just be comfortable being uncomfortable because I don't want to sugarcoat it. It's going to suck at first. It really is going to suck at first because you want to eat what you want to eat and you're trying to resist those urges, that, devil on your shoulder telling you to go to the kitchen to get something to eat. So, I do recommend watching that video because I do get more into the physiological response and why you have those cravings and all that stuff. So it does break it down a bit more. So if you haven't checked out that video yet, definitely check it out. But yeah, just write a sticky note and write the top 3 things that you like to do that you enjoy doing that relaxes you, and keep that somewhere close by that you can reference. And when you do feel those or experience those cravings, do something on that list. Immediately reference that list, and just get into that habit and routine. And over time, it'll just become second nature, and you won't even have to think about it, and you'll just start doing it.
Mm. What are some good tips you could give people who are just starting out on a low carb diet?
To transition,
Yeah.
do it slowly. It literally took me about 45, damn near 60 days to transition. So I recommend just tracking your carbs. You don't have to track anything else. Just track your carbs. Go triple B and E. That's the easiest way to get your fat and protein where it needs to be, or as close to where it needs to be as you're starting out. And then just track your carbs and just drop your carbs 50 to 100 grams a week until you get to where you want to be carb wise. And then supplement with electrolytes in the beginning because that's largely where the keto flu is the electrolyte dump, largely in sodium. Um, in the beginning, you're going to lose a lot of water. You're going to lose a lot of sodium with that water. So yeah, transition slowly. Drop your carbs 50 to 100 grams a week until you get to your target carb goal. Supplement with electrolytes, and that's easy. And then triple B and E is the easiest way to transition, because you're getting, you're getting the fat and the protein you need in those foods rather than thinking and guessing. But I do recommend at least tracking your carbs in the beginning so you can gradually decrease, because a keto flu is, yes, electrolytes, but it's also transitioning too quickly, and your body literally says screw you, and kind of fights back. So you have to give your body time to catch up to what it is you're trying to get it to do.
That's an awesome answer. You guys, if you're not asking questions of Niclole, like you're just wasting your time here on this planet, man, because she's out here just slanging good answers left and right. Niclole got me hooked on cashews. Ooh, girl.
Don't blame me, Sean.
Hey, wait till you see our cashews, avocado, and egg video we got coming. You
So
guys ain't seen nothing yet. Michael Johnson, question. I hate fish. How do I get omega-3?
oh yeah, I don't eat fish either, man. Hold on. I want to make sure I'm giving you the right info here.
Could he take
But
like an
yeah,
omega-3 like
it's
vitamin maybe?
yeah, I mean, there's some in avocados. There's omegas in eggs. So just be sure you're buying the pasture raised eggs because they're the ones that are actually out in the sun getting the vitamin D and all that good stuff, eating their natural food. But yeah, if you're eating a lot of eggs, if you're eating a lot of even walnuts has it, but if you're eating a lot of eggs, if you don't mind avocado, that would be a good way to do it. But if you don't eat a lot of eggs anyway, then yeah, I would maybe take a supplement. But I just eat triple B and E, and I will have avocado every once in a while, not every day, but every once in a while, maybe once a week or so, I'll have some avocado. But yeah, I don't feel any adverse effects, but I do eat a ton of eggs too.
If you could have your eggs only served one way the rest of your life, Niclole, what would it be?
Man, I told you I'm simple. I just scramble those bad
Me
boys.
too, scrambled,
I
yeah.
can't do the hard boiled like I can, but
It
after a while,
stinks.
it's
It
just a
totally changes the
texture. It just
smell.
mm.
Even the runny, like people like the runny
Oh, the
eggs, I'm like,
goopy eggs?
no.
I can do a fried egg, but I don't like the runny yolk. It just upsets my stomach.
Yeah, me
After a
too.
while, it just makes my stomach turn. I just can't do the runny yolks. But if I do the fried egg, it's gonna be fried. And people kind of give me crap for it. But yeah, I can't do the runny yolks. Mm-mm.
I am looking for someone who can eat hard-boiled eggs for the live stream coming up. We want to do like a something fun. And if
I'll
you guys
do
got
it.
different ideas, something besides hard-boiled eggs we can eat during the live stream for fun, like
I'll eat
Caesar.
hard-boiled eggs. It's just I can only eat maybe 2 or 3 tops, and then after that, I'm over it.
Oh, then we might see hard-boiled eggs flying out if
You might quite possible.
Nikki has me eating chocolate, beer, and berries. Oh no, I'm totally stoked.
Hey, don't blame me, JP. Don't blame me. Don't blame me.
Praying she comes back to dairy soon. Oh man, this
Oh
is fun.
man. I'm doing 30 days dairy free.
Carnivore trucker. I never quit beer. Just slow down. LO. Yeah. I actually lost a bunch of weight just before I even got on carnivore. Just cutting out beer and soda, but I still
Oh
had
yeah.
the sleep apnea and stuff. I was from all the inflammation on the carbs. Oh,
Yeah.
here's a question. Here's one for you. You want to take this one?
Medusa. Hi Nicole. What advice could you give to someone like me who struggles with losing weight due to PCOS, insulin resistance? I cut down on carbs, eating protein, work out, but still feel nothing works. Well, first off, how long have you been low carb? And when it comes to PCOS and all that stuff, I'm not an expert in that area. I fortunately have never struggled with that. I hear it's a bear, but a lot of that is hormonal regulation, hormonal balance, and inflammation, chronic inflammation. So what happens is if you were eating a lot of fiber material, whether it's plants, nuts, seeds, grains, all those things, beans, legumes, what happens is for women, especially because we're very hormonal beings, we lucked out with that. But if you are eating a lot of fiber, we're not only losing vitamins and minerals that are getting wrapped up. So what happens is it just binds to the fiber, and because we don't absorb it, we either excrete it out as gas or it adds bulk to our stool, depending on if it's insoluble or soluble. But we're not only losing vitamins and minerals that are getting wrapped up in the fiber, we're also losing hormones such as estrogen for women. So all the excess estrogen we have, if we're eating a high fiber diet, which most Americans are before going low carb, we're eating a lot of plant material, a lot of nuts, a lot of these fibrous material, a lot of grains, especially. We're losing a lot of estrogen because estrogen is binding to the fiber and we're excreting it out. So that causes a lot of hormonal issues with women that likely lead to things like endometriosis and PCOS and all that. So I say just give it time. Make sure you're eating enough fat because fat is very important for hormonal regulation. So depending on what you're eating, I say just stick with triple B and E. Make sure you're getting enough fat. Add things like tallow, ghee, add extra butter in your cooking to up your fat. Fry up the fatty bits, which I have to start doing because it's a texture thing. It makes me gag, so I can't actually eat the fat around a ribeye or any of that. So I have to fry it up. But do those sorts of things to start out, just to up your fat to make sure you're getting enough fat. So I'm glad you're eating enough protein, but you need to make sure you're eating enough fat. More so to support your hormones and regulate your hormones, especially if you have something like PCOS. But I think Becky says, Dr. Bickman in the chat, says he discussed PCOS, and I think maybe Dr. Ken Berry discusses PCOS as well. But the candid answer is just to make sure you're getting enough fat to regulate your hormones and to decrease your inflammation, which should hopefully over time decrease your symptoms is the best answer I can give without knowing more about your diet and lifestyle. But check out Dr. Bickman and Dr. Ken Berry. Just do a YouTube search on PCOS and Dr. Bickman, and the same with Dr. Berry, and I believe they have videos on that as well.
Great answer. Just killing it. Susie's got a question. Ever heard of nutrient deficiencies on carnivore / ketovore with the B vitamins?
I have not, no. Because B vitamins you largely get in animal foods. That's why a lot of plant-based dieters, most plant-based dieters have to supplement with B vitamins. But I have never personally heard of that. I believe that over time, as you decrease your carbs, the RDAs and this is not backed by science and research and all that, what I'm about to say. This is just my opinion based off of how I understand things work. Is the RDAs, the recommended dietary allowance, when it comes to vitamins, minerals, nutrients, and all that stuff. They're the guidelines on how much sodium we need, how much potassium we need, all that stuff. So those guidelines, those recommendations are based off of a high carb diet, which most Americans follow a high carb diet. That's what those recommendations are based off of. When you are thinking of vitamins and minerals, such as B vitamins, folate, and all that, the same would hold true, I would surmise, as vitamin C, as a good example, because that's the ongoing joke in the community, right? Scurvy. So the reason why we don't get scurvy eating primarily meat when we're not eating oranges and the citrus fruits and all that stuff that are higher in vitamin C is because your body is always going to prioritize glucose first. And then, of course, you're going to lose some of the absorption of the minerals because of the fibrous component and all that stuff that I mentioned earlier. So by eliminating the glucose component, your body isn't now fighting over using the glucose over these other nutrients, these other vitamins and minerals. It's now prioritizing these other minerals for absorption without any interference. So those RDAs really do change following a lower carb diet because those are based off of a high carb diet because our bodies are always going to prioritize glucose first if glucose is present, which affects the absorption of the other vitamins and minerals. So that's why we eat primarily meat and don't get things like scurvy or nutrient deficiencies. Now, some people might have nutrient deficiencies like Paul Saladino had issues, and now he's eating all this fruit and honey, but he's also out in the sun and extremely active for 4, 5, 6 hours every single day. So I guess it also depends on your lifestyle, and there is some individuality when it comes to that. But on a high level, those RDAs, as far as how much of these vitamins and minerals and nutrients we need, these RDAs are based off of a high carb diet. Those RDAs change a little bit following a lower carb diet because we don't have that glucose interference.
Hmm. I learned a lot just on that question.
Yeah, that's
You got time for a couple
that's
more
that's all I
questions,
that's
or
all I know. That's all I know outside of, I don't I really haven't heard of very many people being deficient in things as long as you're eating. Now, if you're just eating beef, yeah, I'm not sure if you can get 100% of everything in beef because, if you think about our ancestors, they ate the blood, they ate nose to tail and all that. It's different now. We're not they kind of drip all the blood out of, so we're losing a lot of the iron and the vitamins from the blood because they're draining the blood out of the animals before it
Mhm.
hits the grocery store shelves. So it's definitely different than obviously our ancestors, the way we eat now. Um, but as long as you're eating a balanced carnivore diet, you should be fine. The people who have issues, like the Paul Saladino and other people, it could be because they were eating too much organ meat. Maybe they were eating too many organs and just overdosing
Mm.
and kind of made themselves sick that way. There could be any number of things, but if you're eating a balanced carnivore diet, you should be fine as long as you don't have that glucose interference. That's the length of my knowledge when it comes to, and I'm talking to RDAs because I was trained on that, but that's the extent of my knowledge when it comes to the RDAs as far as what they're recommending and how it interferes with our absorption.
That's way more than I know. You guys ask her.
Yeah,
You
it's
got
all
time
I
for a
know.
couple more questions, or do you got to run?
Oh, no, I'm good.
Okay,
I think there were a couple more I saw.
yeah, let's see if we can get through them here. Here's one for you. You want me to do it, or you want to?
Oh, go for it. This is your show, man.
Former fat girl question. I am considering taking
Berber.
berberine, berberine for a couple of months to see if it has any effect. What has been your experience with it? Thanks. It's better than bourbon, so.
I I mean, I don't take berberine. I don't know that much about it. I know it's a chemical in plants. I don't know what its role is. I know a lot of medicinal medicine and medicines come from plants to kill whatever virus or bacteria or whatever that's going on. So for me, logically, that tells me something. But yeah, I don't know that much about. I can't really answer that. I don't know that much about berberine outside of it comes with plants. So I'm not sure what its role is or what its function is. So you can like clarify if you could put in the chat why exactly it is you're taking it, and that might help a little bit. But yeah, outside of why you're taking it, I can't really answer that. I'm sorry.
Beef tongue is really good. Susie says very beefy and nice texture. Makes a great soup too. Okay. Yeah, I'll keep it in mind, Susie. Robin, JT, when I cook the cow tongue on my channel, I'll tell you. Yeah.
Oh, what is up
Oh
with
man.
that?
Eggs and cow tongues today. Everybody's getting around. Oh, we got another one. I have a beef tongue in the freezer. Future video. Yeah, tag me in it. Tag me in it. Let me know. Let me see if some more cues here. Y'all are fun, man. I'm telling you. Let's see. Oh, here's a cue. Carnivore backwards. John, what requirements to be a certified
Yeah.
nutritionist?
What's up, John? I promise I am going to respond to your email tomorrow. I wasn't all up in my YouTube email today. So there's a difference. So let me explain the differences real quick when it comes to, gosh, this light's really making my face glow. So
It's the
there's a
keto
difference.
glow.
Hey, there's a difference between nutritionist and certified nutrition coach. So I, by law, cannot call myself a nutritionist. I am, by law, a certified nutrition specialist. So the difference is when it comes to nutrition, the only the only career in nutrition that is regulated in all 50 states is registered dietitian.
Mhm.
Uh, don't do that. Don't be an RD. Is registered dietitian. That's the only career that's regulated. Nutritionist is regulated in most states. So it's regulated in my current state of Virginia, but it's not regulated, I don't believe, in Florida. So the term nutritionist. So technically, if I move to Florida, I can say, hey, I'm a nutritionist. But in Virginia, I can't because in most states that regulate nutritionists, you have to look in your state, you have to have a bachelor's degree in food science or nutrition specifically. you have to become certified, you have to become board certified, and then become licensed. So that is the requirements to become a actual nutritionist in most states. So you just have to look to see if it's regulated in your state. To become certified in nutrition, whether it's a coach, specialist, whatever your designation is, that is going through a course, and then sitting for the exam, which in my case, I sat for 4 exams, 150 questions each, and you have to recertify every 2 years. And of course, the test is different. They don't ask you the same questions, but yeah, you have to sit for the exam every 2 years to maintain your credentials. Usually it's self paced. One of the emotional eating one was not self paced. That was actually 6 full months of slow rolling drip and coaching, like group coaching, group calls, and all that. So it depends on the program you go through, but most programs are self paced and requires a, you know, throughout the chapter tests and stuff, and then requires a final exam for the whole everything you've learned, and you have to pass that with a 70, with it, I think for me it was like an 80 or above to pass, and then you have to sit for the exam every 2 years after that to maintain your credentials.
Mm. You got to put in some work, right?
Yeah.
Midlife carnivore question: do you take electrolytes, Nicole?
I do not. I do not believe we need to take electrolytes unless you are physically active, you're sweating a lot, you're outside. If you're just like me and sitting in front of a computer in my living room, there's no need for me to take electrolytes. In the beginning, as you transition, absolutely take electrolytes. If you start cramping, that would be the easiest thing to test, is just test your electrolytes. But I'm a firm believer of not supplementing unless you absolutely have to, because it's truly unnecessary. As long as you're eating the proper human diet and you don't cramp, you don't feel like crap, you're not sluggish, you're not groggy or any of that stuff, then I don't believe in supplementing, because too much electrolytes, as Sean Carnivore Chucker can attest, he's in the chat, it can have adverse effects, just as too little can have adverse effects. You can either be bad enough to where you're in the hospital, but you can have diarrhea, you can have constipation, you can have nausea, vomiting, all sorts of stuff if you have too much electrolytes. So that's why I don't believe in supplementing just a supplement, unless you absolutely truly are deficient, because you can be spending your day in the bathroom, either both ends or one end or the other.
Mm. Yeah, I don't take electrolytes. I
Yeah.
took them before carnivore because I always felt lethargic and just low energy and just felt like crap. And electrolytes were the only thing that helped me get my energy back. But ever since I'm carnivore, oh man, I feel like I'm in beast mode. I was like, I don't know why so many carnivores need electrolytes, but everybody's different though, you know.
Yeah.
Yes, hit the thumbs up button for Nicole's story here, because when you guys do that, we're the algorithm, you know, like us sharing and liking and all and commenting, we are the algorithm, and that helps her story get out there, and that helps her help more people. That's why we're here. We're here to help, we're here
Yeah.
to serve. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, Mike, thank you, man. He said Dr. Kiltz is the expert in the area of PCOS. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't think of Dr. Kiltz, but yeah, you're right. You're right. Dr. Kiltz is the expert. I don't really follow Dr. Kiltz, so I don't know if he did a video on PCOS. I'm sure he did, but yeah, definitely check out his channel too. If you're struggling with PCOS. Thanks, Mike. I don't know why I didn't think of Dr. Kiltz.
This one's for my wife. I just saw my doctor today, and she was worried about my cholesterol being impacted by carnivore diet. What thoughts do you have on this, or how do you recommend a person on this diet to respond?
Oh man, this is a loaded question. All right. So cholesterol, yes, our body self-regulates cholesterol. So that's the first thing. Our body does regulate cholesterol. So some people have naturally high cholesterol just genetically. So cholesterol is very, very important for our being, for our cellular health, our cognitive health, our hormone regulation. It's very important. So the only thing I can suggest is there are two camps, right? You have doctors who are who don't worry too much about cholesterol, and then you have doctors who are quick to put people on a statin. I always say that if all of your other numbers are ideal or trending in the right direction, and the only number that is high is your LDL, I suggest that your doctor just look at the whole picture, but they're so quick to just look at LDL and say, here's a statin, rather than taking the whole thing in account. And then the other thing is there's LDL is technically not even cholesterol. It's lipoprotein, lipodense protein. It's literally just a transporter. So it's technically not even cholesterol. But I would just print off studies, print off, show a video of Dr. Berry. He did a great interview with a cardiologist, with a heart surgeon, who goes in great detail, great length when it comes to the cholesterol topic. I am not an expert in cholesterol. What I will say is I tell my clients, or, people who are concerned about cholesterol, that our body needs cholesterol, it regulates cholesterol, and what we get from food is far less than what our body naturally produces. So that's first. And then when Paul Saladino, he actually did a great video on this as well recently. He debated, friendly debate, a heart surgeon as well. Paul Saladino came up with a great analogy that I started using. So you have a fire at a house, and firefighters show up to the house. So because the firefighters are there, they're associated with the fire, right? But they're not the spark. They didn't start the fire. They're just associated by default with the fire.
Mm.
That's the same with LDL, because LDL is sticky. So LDL is present in these cardiac events, but that doesn't mean it's the spark. It's just getting wrapped up in the spark, and the spark likely is insulin, that is the spark, and then LDL just happens to be present. It's an innocent bystander, kind of like the firefighter. So that's the analogy I started using. But a lot of doctors, unfortunately, aren't open to that, because they are taught to prescribe. They are taught LDL bad, statin. So I would say either get a new doctor that's more open. Honestly, I mean, you can fire your doctor, show them studies, and you can turn down medication if you are confident in that decision. I turned down high blood pressure medication because I wanted to lose the weight. I did not want to go on meds. I'm anti-meds unless my life depends on it and I have one foot in the grave and this pill is going to save my life. I feel like you can make a lifestyle change. You don't have to go on a statin. You don't have to take your doctor's advice. But that's a personal decision that people have to make on their own. Your doctor's likely going to throw the studies in the garbage. Carnivore Ron, his doctor, threw his studies in the garbage when he printed them out. So I would say check out Paul Saladino's video with the cardiac doctor, and then Ken Berry's video with the cardiac surgeon, and watch that and take notes. They show studies on the screen. I think there's studies in the description. Print those out. Outside of that, that's all I can recommend. Just be confident in whatever decision you make. If you decide to not take the medication, be confident in that. And know that you're making the right decision for you. And if you decide to do it, the same, just be confident and know you're making the right decision. But that's the extent of my knowledge of cholesterol as far as cardiac events and its association goes. I definitely recommend checking out those channels, and they have studies in the description that you can print out.
That's a great answer. Yeah, and that same doctor she's talking about, when she was like, "Oh, so you're just eating only meat?" My wife told me that the doctor said that. She said, "Well, this sounds like my husband's dream diet."
Yeah.
So literally, the doctor, she didn't like the idea of it, but she literally, out of her own words, called it a dream diet.
Yeah.
You can't make this stuff up,
Yeah.
folks.
It's people are worried about it. I have clients who are worried about it all the time, especially people who have had cardiac issues, and I understand, because that's actually how my brother died. But I understand
Mm.
if you had heart surgery or whatever, and you are promoted a plant-based diet, because the plant-based diet apparently is what everyone prescribes with whatever issue. I understand the hesitation to go into a meat diet. I understand that, because you just had a heart issue and your doctor's telling you this and you don't want to have another heart issue. I understand that's scary. I understand. But there's two different camps, and you just have to decide which camp you believe. It's a dumpster fire. It's a mess, and it's just hard to weed through the garbage and know what to believe and what not to believe, and that's why I'm not an expert on it, 'cause there's so much conflicting information out there, and I'm just trying to gather it all up and figure out what I believe outside of the role I know cholesterol does in our body and has in our body and the importance. Outside of that, I'm trying to get smarter on it, but it's so hard.
You're doing great, honestly.
Blech.
Cheryl, beef tongue is so good. You guys on this beef tongue, I didn't know that beef tongue was so dang popular.
Blech.
Let's see, where's a queue? We got any more cues here? Man, so many comments to go through here. Wow, so many.
Oh yeah, midlife carnivore. Dr. Ovadia interviewed Dr. Beria interviewed Dr. Ovadia. Yeah, that's who I thought it was, but I didn't want to say the wrong thing. Thank you, midlife.
Looking for cues, folks. There's a lot of comments. I'm just looking for a cue. If you don't have a cue in front of your question, it might get skipped here because we're just trying to get to the questions. And I don't want, if someone's really got a question, I don't want to leave them hanging, because I was in the dark at one point and nobody was answering my questions.
Wait, Brooke said we have a lingua in our freezer. What the heck is a lingua? Is that a tongue? Are you guys still talking about tongues?
I think they're still talking about tongues. Okay, now I'm getting more caught up here. I'm getting lower here. Holy moly. Before we go, there's no more questions that I saw. Do you got something on your heart that you want to talk about while I pull up your channel here?
Um, yeah, I just appreciate you having me on your channel and uh letting me engage with, both of our audiences. I love doing things like this. I love spreading the knowledge and helping people and just learning from each other because I learn from everyone as well. Um, so I just want to say thanks for having me. Thanks for everyone who came with questions and dropped subs and support and all that stuff. And if you are new and you are struggling to lose weight, I know most people come to this way of eating for weight loss. I know that's a primary reason, but I will say I hate the scale. If there's one message I can send, especially if you're a woman, the scale is our enemy because we're the most hormonal beings on the planet when it comes to women and the scale. And that's usually what the scale shows, right? Not necessarily fat loss or fat gain. It's our hormonal fluctuations, our water fluctuations based off our hormones. So I say don't track your weight loss. Honestly, that will come. Focus on your overall health. Focus on just feeling better. Just focus on healing. Focus on just eating the right foods and, getting better sleep, decreasing your inflammation, recovering from emotional eating, from addiction, whatever your story or journal is. I had a lot of recovery to do outside of weight loss. Weight loss wasn't my goal for low carb. That just happened because I still had weight to lose. My goal was to see if I can get rid of my inflammation, just feel better and get rid of my depression and my anxiety, my mental health. That was my reasoning. And, I improved all that while still losing weight, but I wasn't focused on that. So I say, don't focus on weight loss. I know that's going to be hard. Just know that will come. Just focus on healing. If you focus on healing first, I promise you this will be a lot less stressful because people get so hung up on the numbers and the numbers can be deceiving, especially the scale numbers. They're very deceiving. It's not telling the whole picture. And I know a lot of people get stressed out about that and get hung up on that and get defeated and just want to quit. So I say, screw the scale, screw weight loss. Weight loss will come. Just focus on healing. Just heal. Just heal. Focus on healing. Just focus on feeling better. And I promise you, the weight loss will come and it'll all come together. Just focus on healing first.
Yeah, love yourself, guys. Focus on making good decisions, picking the water over the soda, just make good decisions for yourself. Love yourself more than whatever you were addicted to.
Yeah.
And let your body heal because it's a great machine. And if you give it the right things and give it time and love yourself, there's just no way you're gonna lose. You're gonna win, and you're gonna win big time.
100%. Bible Reading Bear said they threw their scale away 5 years ago when I was bedridden. Hell yeah.
Good
I
for
love
you.
that.
I
And then,
like using the measuring tape too, because some days,
yeah.
you'll gain muscle and the weight goes up on the scale. But then I looked, it's funny. Some days when the scale goes up, I went down like a half inch of
Yep.
belly fat, but I went up like a pound on weight.
Yep.
So you at least do both. If you're going to do one, either don't do either of them
Yeah.
or do both of them.
I went by clothes. When I was
Yeah, yeah,
losing
or
weight,
the mirror, how you
yes,
look, how
the
things are.
only the
When you get in
only
something that you've been looking at for like 2, 3 years in the
yes.
closet, and you're finally wearing it, you don't need a damn scale, man.
Dude, the only
No.
reason I knew I lost 50 pounds back in November was because I had the thing. I don't want us to get demonetized. I had the thing and I landed in the ER. And of course, whenever you go to the hospital, they weigh you. I was like, oh no, I have the thing. I have the id, but I lost 50 pounds. That's the only reason I knew I dropped weight. I never weighed myself. I went by clothes.
Question. Give us the way you loved yourself. I just give an example. I picked water instead of beer. I picked fresh air instead of marijuana.
Oh wow.
Um, yeah, I picked steak instead of Fritos and ice cream. Like, it's love yourself by the decisions you make. Like, don't drink and drive. If you are gonna be stupid and drink, do it at home. Like, love yourself, make and love people around you. Because sometimes your decisions affect other people and they had nothing to do with your decision, like
Yeah.
drinking and driving and stuff. So just love yourself with decisions, because that's really how you love yourself. Is It's life comes down to decisions. And you see a lot of people sitting in prison because they made bad decisions. They didn't love their life, they didn't love their future that was ahead of them. Love yourself, not just with your health, but your life too, your mental health, like everything. Just, it sounds greedy to say love yourself. Like, it's not a greedy thing, because when you truly love yourself, you're going to have love in you to share to other people. Because I really feel like if you don't love yourself and you're depressed and you don't feel good and all this, how could you just want to spread love to anybody? I mean, you don't even feel the love yourself,
I
that's.
I do for my last parting words, I love that. I do have one thing to say because I actually had this conversation with a client on Friday. When people are going through their healing journey, the best way to show yourself love and to show yourself grace is to put yourself first.
Hmm.
Right? You have to put yourself first. You are never going to be able to drop the weight and heal if you don't make yourself a priority. I know, especially women, we're caregivers by nature. We want to give to others first, put others before us. And if you're trying to heal yourself and just get better, you can't do that. You can't
Hmm.
pour from an empty cup or a half empty cup. You need to put yourself first for the first time in your life. Maybe for me, it was the first time in my life. I had to put myself first. And it was hard, but I had to do it or I was never going to get better. Um, so that's for me, that's the best way you can love yourself is putting yourself first. And I say that because I've had this conversation with a client just a few days ago, and it's hard because a lot of us have families, a lot of us have kids, a lot of us have aging parents we're caring for. We have others we're caring for, but this might be the first time in your life to where you have to put yourself first, take care of yourself first, and then take care of whoever it is that you might be taking care of. That's the best way you can show yourself love, especially if you are in the beginning of your journey.
Yeah, and to piggyback off that, because she's 100% right, guys. My coach would say, think of it like this: if you're on a plane and the oxygen mask drops, you got to put yours on first,
Yep,
because if you pass out, and let's say you've got two kids with you, how are you going to help them if you've just passed out? So you need to grab that right away, put it on yourself, take care of yourself, and then you can help someone else. Like, you literally can't help anybody unless you help yourself. I see
exactly.
people too. They're like, "Oh, I'd love to donate to this and donate to that," but they ain't got no money. You
Yep,
got to make some money and help yourself, and then you can donate generously and help. It's not a greedy thing to help yourself. It really isn't. It's a liberating thing, because if you don't help yourself, you can't help nobody else. I'm a firm believer in that, guy.
right.
So love yourself. This has been awesome. Are you going to come back for an update, Nicole?
I'll come back whenever you want me. You can come on my channel too.
Cool.
No, this
Cool.
was tons of fun. This was valuable, and yeah, I definitely appreciate the people who stuck with us for an hour and a half. I know there's a couple other lives going on, so I definitely
Hey, this is
appreciate.
the livest though. We
Yeah, telling you,
we
this is the most
we
fun.
got avocados and eggs. We're the livest bunch in here, guys. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate everyone sticking with us and hanging with us on your Monday night. This was definitely tons of fun. So thank you all for being here with us, and thank you JT for inviting me on. This was tons of fun. I enjoy getting to meet you finally. I see you around the YouTubes, but it's good to finally talk.
Yeah, same here. I've been trying to track you down. You're a tough girl to get a hold of. We gotta I got to tackle you myself, like I'm going to start using that. But you guys, hopefully, ladies out there, you guys have found inspiration from a former fat girl, because it is so liberating to say that, man. She's embracing who she was and she's celebrating who she is now. And I think, ladies, if you're watching, you can all do that. You can all embrace who you were and celebrate who you are now and who you're going to be. So, make sure you subscribe to her channel. She's a beacon of light. My coach always says repetition is the first law of learning, guys. So replay this. You might have got a notification on your phone for something and you missed something very important that Niclole said, because she took some time out here to give you guys very thorough answers. And if any of the answers are specific to you, write down what she said. Take some notes, guys. Take this serious, because that's why we're here. We're here to help. So you guys, that's this episode. We're out. I'll do my duck face on the way out. Maybe it looks like I'm having a carnivore heart attack. We'll see.